"Listen," says Ben Cahoon, a forester who hoots for owls in his job managing timberland in Northern California. "First, figure out which owl species are in your area, and find field recordings of their vocalizations online. Owls say more than just hoo, hoo. Spend several days just listening to their calls, memorizing their whistles, cackles, grunts, and groans. Once you know their repertoire, go outside. Try hooting around dusk. Owls tend to be nocturnal. Cahoon mostly calls northern spotted owls, which in 1990 were listed as threatened under the Endangered Species Act. The federal government then began requiring owl surveyors like Cahoon to hoot before allowing trees to be harvested. If an owl called back, in many cases the trees around it had to be left standing. New rules curtailed logging in the Pacific Northwest, setting off a clash between loggers and conservationists that came to be known as the Timber Wars. A bumper sticker from the era reads, "Save a logger, eat an owl." Cahoon vocalizes differently in the spring, when he knows the birds are looking for mates, than in the early summer, when they're vociferously defending their owlets. Once he locates an owl, he shuts up. "Don't bother them," he says. No response doesn't mean no owls. Maybe they got harassed by a bunch of Steller's jays earlier in the day and just don't feel like talking, Cahoon says. Or maybe you don't sound right. Cahoon has trained dozens of people, and sometimes they simply can't get the pitch and cadence. "It's kind of like singing," he says. Hooting humans are no longer required. As of 2011, the United States Fish and Wildlife Service advises that northern spotted owl surveys be conducted using recordings of real owls. Proceed with caution when you hoot for owls. You can inadvertently alert predators to their whereabouts, make them worry for their young, give them false hopes for finding a mate, or even lure fledglings away from their parents. Cahoon suggests you leave communicating with vulnerable owls to the pros. Instead, hoot for more aggressive and common species, like the barred owl or the great horned owl, which has a booming voice and tends to be chatty. "They'll call all night long," he says.